What was really known in 1955 after trial was really what the defense wanted us to hear. We had admissions that Emmett was taken from a house, from where Emmett Till was staying with his great uncle, and taken allegations that he was taken to the store owned by Milam and Bryant, or by Roy Bryant, but no definitive evidence to that effect. And then the next thing we know, basically, is that his body is found. There was one witness, Willie Reed, who's here from Chicago. He moved here after being a witness at trial, who said that basically there were 4 white men in the cab of the truck that went into a farm over Clint Sherton Plantation, and in the back of that pickup truck were 3 black men and Emmett Till. But after the trial, that was never brought up again. You didn't see it in the press. You didn't see it anywhere else. It was Willie Reed's lone voice saying there were other perpetrators to the crime. And with the advent of the Look article in January of '56, that was really just the voice of the killers, trying to take any focus off of anyone else. In that article, they took complete blame for the murder. So when we went back through it, though, we found out a lot more. We know that between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. that morning, that Saturday morning, that Roy Bryant confronted Carolyn Bryant about what had happened on that Wednesday prior. And let's be clear, the family who is closest to Emmett Till will tell you that he definitely whistled at her, that there was not a question about that. We see that in the press, the alleged whistle. His family will tell you there was a whistle, to no doubt. But what they can't say, and what no one else can say, except for what we found out, is Carolyn Bryant alleged not that Emmett Till whistled at her. She said at trial that he grabbed her waist, that he accosted her physically and said he would come back. There's not one shred of proof to that claim. In fact, we found the defense interview notes where she was interviewed in 1955, and she didn't mention it once. She only said that he said that she sold him some candy, and he said, I want a date. That's what she said, not that he grabbed her. So that was on the Wednesday prior. So we also found that about late in the afternoon on that Saturday, there was another young boy who's still alive today, who went into the store, and Roy Bryant started really talking at him, like accosting him verbally. Are you from Chicago? Thinking that this is Emmett Till. And that young boy's mother tries to intervene, and eventually Roy learns from someone else that this isn't the boy. And Roy lets him go. But shortly after that, as the sun is setting, another young boy who's still alive today is walking north out of Money alongside the road. He's carrying some molasses, or as he called it, syrups. And a pickup truck pulls up in front of him. A black man named Johnny B. Washington gets out of the back of the truck, and out of the front comes Roy Bryant, J.W. Milam, and another person. That black man had grabbed this child, put him in the truck, and when one of the people said, "That's the wrong racial slur," Roy Bryant said, "Let him go." This guy Johnny B. Washington took this boy and threw him out of the pickup truck, and it busted the top teeth out of his mouth. About 8 o'clock that night, Roy came back to Money, or JW came back to Money, Mississippi, and picked up JW, or Roy. And then we know from the testimony at trial at about 2:30 in the morning, Mose Wright testified that they came in, Roy Bryant, J.W. Milam came into the house and took Emmett. And that there was another person outside who, quote, acted like a black person, and a person in the car that had a, quote, lighter voice. But what we didn't know back then is that they actually took Emmett to the store and Money after they left the house. And then they appeared at Leslie Milam's farm. Leslie Milam is a brother of the Bryants and Milams. It's 8 brothers. There's 4 full brothers and 4 half brothers. And they appeared in the middle of the night, and Leslie Milam says, "Take them back where you got them." And they leave. But then about 7 a.m., we know from Willie Reed, they showed back up. 4 white guys in the front of the truck, 3 black in the back, and they take Emmett into this barn. And we know for a fact now where that barn is and what room in that barn they took him and where he was beaten. And then, I would contend, shot. And then we know that they left that barn. When they left that farm, the pickup truck didn't have anybody sitting up in the back of it anymore. They took the truck over to Glendora, Mississippi, and it was seen there by another. They were at Milam's store. Milam had a store there. And a young man is there with his father. His father sees Mr. Milam, says, "You got blood coming out of the back of your pickup truck." Milam takes this man, pulls a canvas tarp back, stuffs his head over the back of the pickup truck, and says, "This is what happens to smart racial slurs." The man is so disturbed, he grabs that young boy and drags him through the hedges going back home. That boy remembers being scratched by the thorns and by his father's fear. Then they left that store and they went down by a cotton gin, and they were seen leaving that cotton gin a short while later, going north. So in summary, we know that 2 other people were confronted while they were looking for Emmett. We know he was brought to the store. He went to Glendora. I spent a lot of time looking at the magazine article, the Look magazine confession, and really nothing in it makes much sense. Emmett was most likely killed in that barn. And of course, we know from what you're going to hear in a few minutes that definitely is Emmett Till interred at Burr Oak. But why is this important today? Well, I'll tell you why it's important. Number one, in Miss Till's book, I won't read the whole thing, but here's a quick quote. "For years I have hoped to have the investigation of the murder of my son reopened." His mother tried for years to have the investigation reopened. And we all know today that I presented the evidence to a grand jury, and they did not see fit to render a true bill on anyone. But that isn't why it's important today. What's important is that we found 2 young boys who were accosted. We found another young boy whose dad saw the body. We found a trial transcript. We found an alleged murder weapon. We found many things, many nuggets of fact. And we are fact finders. We seek the truth and we seek justice. And we may not have found justice in the way you think of it as a person in jail for Emmett Till, but what we did is we sparked a part of that civil rights cold case initiative that the FBI has today. And we sparked over 100 investigations being opened. So now you have 100 families with a little bit of hope and 100 cases that will find a little bit more of the truth. I would think that as Wheeler Parker and I were talking on the phone the other day, I was telling him what I was going to go over, and he said, "That's Emmett speaking from the grave." I couldn't agree more. That is that child speaking from the grave like he spoke from the grave from the day he was murdered. It has continued to this day, and it'll continue through those other 100 investigations. And I'm proud to have had the time. I'm proud of the FBI for allowing me the latitude to do the investigation that needed to be done. No hold was barred. Nothing was barred me. And what they won't tell you, when we did the autopsy with Dr. Donahue, there were, I think, 6 PhDs in the room at one time. I'd never been in a room with that many PhDs. There was nothing left back. And Dr. Ubelacher from the Smithsonian came in. What else could we want? We couldn't want any more for finding the truth. So it's a pleasure to work it. I look forward to any questions you have. There are some limits on what I can say, obviously, because people have privacy rights that I have to respect. But thank you for your time.